So Alan, a little bit of Americana.
Oh, David, I didn't expect to like this, but I do. This week it is the 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee L. So in this week's team test, I've got David roped in. I took it for a drive earlier in the week. It's been absolutely fabulous, a brilliant tourer. What do you think of it, David? What do you think of the looks?
I find the looks is wonderfully American in a way with this lovely big flat bonnet.
And it's coming up past my waist with the familiar Jeep. I think always thinks this looks like a shaver.
But Alan, it's not a really deep grille there, is it?
There's lights down below. Well, these are the daytime running lights up here, but they only come on when the car's in gear.
Yes.
It's got a 3.6 litre Pentastar.
V6 petrol.
V6 petrol, which is really surprising in a car this big. I'm getting about 12.3 litres per 100 kilometres from the 8-speed automatic. It's got all-wheel drive. This is Quadra-Track 1. There's 3 models in the range. This is the middle one. It's the Limited for a shade over 87,000. David, the top model, ask me how much the top model is.
How much would the top model be, Alan?
115,000.
Oh.
Now, to show you how truly huge the Grand Cherokee L is, these wheels are 20-inch. The next model up has 21-inch, and they still look somewhat lost in these massive wheel arches. And surprisingly for a car with 7 seats, there is quite a large luggage space here. Now, we've folded down one of the third row seats to show you how big that space is, and the corresponding second row seat. So with all of these folded down, it is absolutely enormous. Here's that side blind I was talking about. David, a tasteful piece of timber. I guess it's faux timber. I'm going to put this headrest up for you. Now, you're sitting quite upright. You can adjust that. There is a third range there, a third zone of climate control, including a 240 domestic socket and some USBs.
Both USB and USB-C.
Indeed, David, and overhead, you've got bundles of headroom, and this is including a very large sunroof. This has got the latest Uconnect system, Uconnect 5. Underneath that are some vent controls, but look, there's one for heated steering wheel and heated and cooled seats. And you've also got the same thing up here. But have a look at this, the heated steering wheel button is on the American side, which I think is kind of funny.
And there's also a few up here that sometimes you miss.
They're tilted right back so that you can have a nice flat vent there. These are controls that you're not really going to use all that much. And overhead, there is a plethora of controls. Above the back tailgate is a camera, which gives you a really great view, and it displays here on the rear vision mirror. Now, here's where you fold the third row headrests, but have a look at this, David. This is the best thing ever.
My goodness.
Isn't that fancy? So it shows you all of the seats, and you just click on whichever seat you want a view of. Now, obviously, you don't want a view of the front seats because the driver can just look over. So there's the driver's seat just there. There's the passenger's seat. But this is the second row. This is the third row. Down below, again, a plethora of USBs and auxiliary inputs, including a 12 volt. I've already mentioned that there's a household outlet in the back. And the audio and air conditioning controls here. You can also have air conditioning controls here, and I like the way that this is sort of gentle. Like, it's not exactly speedy, but as you go to each thing, it gently goes to the next function. Thing is, David, there's CarPlay. Have a look at this. Wireless CarPlay, David, which guess what is included? Standard. And these buttons scroll through the functions on the main screen, and the controls on the stalks behind are standard, and there is a head-up display there which is probably a little difficult to see. This is super simple. The Quadra-Track 1,
It's easy for you to say.
indeed, Simple selections, just one button takes you to sport, auto, snow, or sand and mud. The handbrake is over down on the right side because you don't need to use it. When you press the off button, the Jeep will automatically turn on the parking
Electric.
brake. Although, as the Americans call it, the emergency brake. Emergency brake. I've just had my pie in the sky lunch, got my coffee in the car. I've got the big Jeep in sport. Now remember, this is the middle of the range model. Surprisingly, it doesn't miss out on very much at all. It doesn't have the fancy suspension, which is a bit of a shame. Now you'd expect a big old girl like this to be, what's the word, a little bit uncooperative. This is an 80km/h, very windy road. It's the old section of the Pacific Highway. That is, oh, that man was waving at me, I wonder why. Was superseded once the new road went in, the big road that we're about to go on. And I find it very difficult to imagine that there was a whole lot of traffic on this road. Oh, hell's bells. Oh, a motorcyclist has come off his bike. Oh, I hope he's okay. Jeez. Hell's bells. Sorry, where was I? We've got a car that's incredibly capable, handling these corners absolutely beautifully. And the V6 in this, the same series of engines that we have reviewed in Jeeps in the past. In this though, it is pulling a lot more weight because this thing is huge. The ads for this car see it scampering up a quite decent angled hill. The grade on it would confound most all-wheel drive vehicles. This just scampers up and it seems somehow wrong. That's one of my pet hates, when you're merging onto a freeway and this is 110, get up to 110 on the bloody ramp. Don't try and do it once you enter the freeway and have everybody else slow down. Irritating. Now you'd think these 20-inch wheels would make the cabin really noisy, but active cancelling makes the cabin incredibly quiet. The cruise control is both regular cruise control and active cruise control. I'm going to turn that on now and set it at 110. Now I could just sit here and let the car virtually drive itself. The seats have lumbar control. The electric adjustment allows me to store 2 memories over here on the door. One thing I've noticed, that if you're like me and you wear multifocal glasses, all of these digital mirrors are a little bit hard to focus on. And in many ways, it's easier to actually just have it on the regular mirror, because that's the same distance that I use for seeing ahead I can use in the mirror. Now we're back in city traffic. Very narrow lanes, very big car. 50km/h speed limit in most places, some it's down as low as 40. For such a big car, honestly, this is really easy to maneuver in town. So, let's wrap it up. I love the way the dash is laid out. I love this Uconnect 5 system. The fact that we've got separate controls for air conditioning. I've got a wireless charger, I've got a heads-up display, I've got a digital dash, I've got most of the driver aids that I need. Considering that this is going to be the same price as some of the upper Toyota Klugers, I'd much rather have this. That's it for the Jeep Grand Cherokee L. At the moment, you're getting 3 years of free servicing and lifetime, and that's the, what do they call it, the Jeep Wave, lifetime of roadside assist.
Ah.
Why don't you hit like?
Or leave a comment.
Or both. And where are they going to subscribe? Over here.